In college algebra, we looked at different types of systems that have different answers, or I should say different types of answers. We may have a no solution situation. You may have an infinite number of solutions. Or you may just have an answer, a solution like we did earlier this week in 6.1. But those are the two new types of solutions. We're going to skip the manual process of finding row echelon form, and we're going to use the calculator. So let's give it a try with number 1 here. I want to take that matrix and type it into the calculator. So, that system, and type it into the calculator. So we press menu, 7, and then 4 for row echelon form. Then I need a matrix, so you press the button to the right of the 9 and pick the 3x3 dead center there. And that lets you customize the size. In our problem, right here, we have 3 equations, 3 rows, and 4 columns. So I need to change this to a 4, and I'm good to go. So you start typing. You want to type in all those front numbers. Whoops, I was writing the answer. And you press enter, and notice the very bottom row. This right here is saying 0 equals 1, which makes no sense, right? The first 2 rows, that's saying x minus 4/3 y plus 4/3 z equals 4. That's okay, nothing wrong with that equation. The middle one is saying y minus 10z equals 9. That one's okay also, but it's that bottom row. It's saying, remember, that's saying x, that's saying y, and that's saying z. And there's no way 0 equals 1. So if that ever happens, we're just going to say no solution. All right, let's try another one. On number 2, same setup, 3 equations, 3 variables. Let's type in that augmented matrix. So you press menu, 7, and 4 for row echelon form. And we're going to click on create a matrix. We have a 3x4. And let's type in the augmented matrix. You press enter. This time we get a way different result. The bottom isn't really contradicting itself, but it's just not telling us anything. It's telling us 0 equals 0, which is an obvious statement. If that ever happens, if one of the rows zeroes out, we're going to say infinite solutions. You could plug in any number you want for z, and you're going to get a correct answer. So infinite solutions. All right, let's look at one more. This one's a weird one because it looks like we have too little information, and we actually do have too little information. So let's type that in. Menu 7, row echelon, click the matrix button. This time I only have 2 equations, but I still have 4 rows. And obviously we're not going to get an answer. Remember, we need the same number of equations as we do variables, and we only have 2. So this is implying infinite solutions again. We could plug anything we want in for z, and we'll get a correct answer. So that's it for infinite solutions and no solution. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me show you one other scenario. So at the bottom of the screen, you see a system of equations. And I think this was a problem from our notes or one of the optional assignments. I can't remember where, but it actually does have an answer. It's not a no solution. It's not an infinite solutions. So let's see what happens when we type it into the row echelon form. You go menu, matrix, row echelon. Let's enter our matrix. It's a 3 by 4. And let's type in the front numbers. So there's our augmented matrix. That's all based on that system right there, remember. And I get a true statement, or I get what looks like a true statement. It is actually, there's an answer. Remember, this implies that z equals 2. The middle one implies that y minus z equals -3, and so on. I think you get the right idea. Well, let's make the calculator solve it for us. So highlight the ref expression, move your cursor over, and let's add an R to it so it says RREF. And what that's going to do, it's a different program. It's actually going to solve for each letter. And look at that. Now we know right there that x equals 1. Right here tells us y is -1, and right here tells us z is 2. So if you do see that you have a real solution, you can use RREF to solve the whole thing. All right, see y'all later.